It's been so long. Hello! I am back from hibernation! I took a long break to keep from burning out, and so much happened. So first, I got a concussion. That was fun. I also did some soul searching and rigged 2 whole VTuber models. Today is the day that I finally post my 10 styles challenge video. I'm prioritizing the art styles of my personal favorite video games, anime, and cartoons with a special surprise at the end. It's not a surprise, you saw it on the thumbnail. I also want to mention, I got a new mic. I still don't have it set up perfectly, so there's a lot of echo in the recording. I'm going to try and fix it as best as I can, but I do want to apologize for the unprofessionalness of this video. Blame my 4-year-old for breaking my old mic. Anywho, let's get on to the first piece based on Steven Universe art style. I personally loved Steven Universe. It was one of the best shows I've ever watched whenever it came to my young adult and teenagehood. And I'm not saying that just to say it either. Steven Universe actually changed my life and actually changed my perspective on how I see the world. It actually is crazy. Something that I enjoy about Steven Universe is the emphasis on emotion, emotional control, and trauma recovery, if you will. Now, it's a very therapeutic show if you take it, I guess, as seriously as I did. Now, I binge watched this about 2 or 3 years ago when I was really bored and didn't know what to do. I didn't want to play any video games, so I was like, oh, I have Amazon Prime. I might as well watch Steven Universe, you know? And during that time, I literally binged watched the entire thing over the course of like a week. It was such an amazing experience. I absolutely love Steven Universe. I don't agree with everything that's in the show, but I do love the emphasis on love. Love is very important to me, as well as healing from trauma. Huge thing for me. I remember I cried so hard at the end, the last season. I won't get into spoilers or anything, but it touches on things like PTSD, recovering from that, and or reacting based off of the symptoms of PTSD. I'm actually cleared of that now. I don't hold any mental health issues anymore, but that really hit me in the feels. And it was actually a very healing experience. All of that crying, I was like, oh man, this sucks to watch. It's very triggering, you know, etc., etc. But I knew that if I watched through it all and seeing, you know, Steven, you know, succeed and overcome all of that trauma, I'm gonna feel better in the end. So I did. So if you're dealing with anything like mental health issues wise, highly recommend Steven Universe. It's just an amazing show overall, and that's why I wanted to go ahead and draw my Steven Universe character. I bet you this drawing's already done, but I'm gonna quickly go over it. So I decided to give myself the opal gemstone just because opal is my birthstone. I didn't want to put too much thought into it. It also kind of matched the color palette of my OC or persona, whatever you want to call it, my VTuber. But yeah, that's basically it. I noticed that, and this is going to be a recurring theme, the line art is always black. It's not colored line art, and it's something that I really don't like to do. Ever since I switched over to colored line art, I did not want to go back. You know, so going back into the black line art was very difficult. Also with Steven Universe, the line art is not pressure sensitivity-ified. I don't know what to call it, but it's very straight. So I used my hard round brush for it without pressure sensitivity. That one was also difficult because I love my pressure sensitivity so much. But yeah, so another thing, I drew this on stream actually. I might put some clips up. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. It's a really fast piece. A lot of these redraws are really quick because of how simple the art style is, because it's based off of a Western cartoon, which the faster you get those out, the better. So that means simple art styles are better than others. Anyway, I'm so going on a rant with this one. I'm going to be ranting the entire video. We'll see how much gets cut out. But yeah, that's basically Steven Universe. On to the next one. The next one on the list is Fancy Schmancy Adventure Time. I love Adventure Time. I don't love it as much as Steven Universe. Now keep in mind, whenever I'm talking about these things, these are like core, like childhood or young adult memories of just watching these shows and personally attuning myself to them. I really liked how Steven Universe started out as a very relaxed and, you know, down-to-earth kid show. You know, it was a kid show. And then as time went on, I guess I don't know if they had this plan from the beginning, but like as the audience grew up, with Adventure Time, the story got a lot more advanced, a lot more dark. My terminology is bad, but you know what I mean. I don't know. I love that, and that's something I haven't seen in a show. It's very a common trope now. One thing I noticed, of course, the line art is not weighted, and it is fully black. I didn't realize that Adventure Time hands had 3 fingers. I was hesitant because this piece doesn't feel finished to me, because I'm usually, you know, coloring in the line art, doing all the shading, gradients, lighting effects, after effects, things like that. And this is just straight up base color and line art. Non-weighted line art, not colored in line art. So it was very, very fast. So I hope I'm not prolonging this speed paint too long just by rambling so much. But I don't know. I thought this was unfinished. Anyway, I like how it turned out. I just feel like it's unfinished. I love Adventure Time. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. And the next one is Soul Eater. Oh my gosh, where's Soul Eater? I need to get it. I'm looking at the final pictures while I'm recording, so I don't like feel rushed while I look at the speed paint to talk as fast as the speed paint goes. Yeah, so Soul Eater, I had a very bad experience with the Soul Eater piece because I got a little too ambitious, and that's a thing that happens a lot with me. I get a little too ambitious and then I overwhelm myself and then I don't touch it for weeks. This was one of them. So I did a top-down perspective, a super dynamic pose, because I was like, okay, I can do this. I'm at the level of art where I can do this easily. I mean, I could with the sketch, but turning it into fully line art and making it to the Soul Eater art style was a whole different other story, because I was constantly second guessing myself. I guess I was just looking at it too long, or just obviously second guessing myself because I didn't think that this looked right. I still don't think this looks right. I still feel like something is off. So if you notice anything that is off with this piece, let me know in the comments, because I cannot figure out for the life of me what is wrong with this thing. But yeah, Soul Eater is another one of my core anime cartoons, whatever. All of these are. I don't know what I'm going to try not to repeat myself over and over again for each piece. But yeah, this core memory, Soul Eater was one of my first few anime I've ever watched. I was introduced to anime as a little kid, like, you know, Adult Swim, I can't talk, you know, Adult Swim, 4am, whatever those anime would show. I would watch that, but I never seriously got into anime until I was like 13 or 14 years old, maybe 15. And Soul Eater was one of the first. That Dragon Ball was the first, and then Soul Eater was the second one. And yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed Soul Eater because I was a Halloween baby, and I feel like I internalized that a little bit too much. So Halloween was like my personality at the time. I don't know. I loved the Halloween aspects, motifs of the show. It's very subtle. I also love how animated yet simple the art style is. I also love that there aren't any like highlights other than the eyes themselves. It's a very toned down, low saturation type of anime as well. I don't know, I really liked how unique the art style was, and I feel like I was a little too heavily inspired by Soul Eater, to the point where I still draw noses like the Soul Eater nose, and I couldn't figure out where I came up with that nose design until someone pointed it out in stream. Hey, your nose looks like the Soul Eater noses, and I was like, oh, that'll do it, you know. But yeah, it's actually really cool how similar the art style has, or how much the art style has influenced me over the years. It's actually kind of crazy. But yeah, that's basically it with the Soul Eater one. I just procrastinated way too much on this one. I overthought it. I was a little too ambitious, and the rest of it was great. The rest of it was great. We're gonna go to the next one. What was the next one? Ooh, Card Captor Sakura is next. I love drawing this one. Okay, so Card Captor Sakura, absolutely amazing manga. It was my first, if my memory serves me correctly, it was my very first manga ever. And that was when I was like, how old was I? I think I was like 12. Yeah, I was 12 because I was just about to start middle school, and I was really excited about it. It was the summer of me about to start middle school. Like, you know, puberty was just starting, everything was changing, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a woman now. Anyway, so I read Card Captor Sakura for the first time, and I read the first like a few other versions of it, but it was so cool because I tried so hard to match that art style. as a little 12-year-old baby. I don't have any of those sketches. I wish I did. If I could show those sketches to you while I'm drawing these, that would have been so freaking perfect, but I don't have a lot from whenever I was that age. It's just been so long because I'm such an old granny, you know? As my voice doesn't match it, but I actually am not the age that I bet you think I am. I'm old. So anyway, card capture Sakura, I really did truly enjoy that. Now, one thing that I was scared of when I drew it, like obviously like the body shape is very much the same, very similar to how I draw bodies in real life. Not in real life, like in my normal art style. But the head and the eyes were something that I was worried about, especially when I was like analyzing the card capture Sakura art style. The entire upper half of the eye, for the most part, is just pitch black with just like some hatching. And I was really worried that the star wouldn't work very well because, you know, have star pupils, my model does. And I was scared of how that would turn out. And I was also scared about the contrast because I'm always like super over analyzing the stupid contrast in my art, and I was so scared that using just pitch black would just completely throw off the entire piece. It did not. It actually made it look great. Something that's great about this entire challenge that I think would be beneficial to you, the viewer, if you are wanting to do this as well, is do it and you'll start to realize that there are some things that are easier in certain art styles than others, or you might pick up on some art styles and be like, hey, this actually looks really cool. I want to use that for my art. And there's been so many instances of that over the course of me drawing this 10 styles challenge. Well, I guess I closed at a pretty good note then. I just checked the recording back to make sure I wasn't mid-sentence. I guess we're good. Where are we at? We were working on card capture Sakura. Right, okay. Actually, you know what? That's pretty much it on card capture Sakura. I don't know what I think she looks really cute in space, and she all glowy and cute and adorable, and that is my conclusion. Yes, okay. What's the next one? Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah, where's it at? Where's the moment at? There you are. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and do a voiceover for the This is so dumb. I'm sorry. But yeah, Full Metal Alchemist. So this one, I'm going to say this every single time. Also a core memory. Now, I watched the original one as well as the Brotherhood one. I love them both. Personally, I like the Brotherhood one a little bit better. Added a lot more to it and it felt more finished, I guess. I don't know. The art style for Full Metal Alchemist is very straightforward. There wasn't anything super like impactful or different. Please don't hate on me, Full Metal Alchemist fans. It just, you know, like the body anatomy is very straightforward. The line art, very simple, very clean. And the eyes, very simple. Like straightforward, easy to draw quickly, repeatedly over time. So I decided to go ahead and redraw the manga cover of Full Metal Alchemist instead of the digital art. So that way I could play around with some different brushes and make it look traditional in a digital environment. I thought that was a really cool idea. And I love how it turned out. Like I used to imagine myself like with the tattoos or whatever the heck. It's been so long since I've watched it. I would imagine myself like using those powers, and like I actually got me into looking into alchemy legitimately, which is kind of scary. I mean, well, it's not really scary because it doesn't work, but still, like, I don't know. But I did look into alchemy actually for a little bit just to see what it actually was, because it was a real thing, but it was like, correct me if I'm wrong, like this is not research at all. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it could be like chemistry back in the day. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. If it's not chemistry back in the day, then I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I thought of a really cute little pose and I drew it. I used like a more sketchy textured line art brush as well, and I didn't worry about perfection as much because it is supposed to pretend to be like a traditional piece. So yeah, I don't know. I like how it turned out. It's very straightforward. Like this, there's not a lot to talk about with this one. Yeah. On to the next one. Dragon Ball Z art style. So, Dragon Ball Z was another one, and I repeat this every single time, so I guess you understand the gifs. I like this show. The show made me happy, and this is why I drew it. Yeah. I was actually surprised because from what I remembered from Dragon Ball Z as a kid and the Dragon Ball, I only really watched Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I haven't really touched much on Super, but the art style I thought was really, really simple and not very well done from what my memory tells me. But when I looked at everything again for references, I mainly use Bulma as a reference, by the way, just so that I can, you know, get the woman side of it down, because I don't want to be a big muscly person. Yeah, their hair alone is so freaking detailed, and their bodies are very anatomically correct. See, I was thrown off by the head and the eyes and the giant forehead. In reality, the whole, like, the rest of everything is very anatomically correct. There isn't a lot else that's exaggerated. The lighting is as well, but we'll go into that here in a second. But yeah, I don't know, I was very dumbfounded, and it was a lot harder to do this drawing than I thought it was. So if you ever want to do Dragon Ball Z, or people who just do Dragon Ball Z art styles, I applaud you. That takes a lot of work and dedication. You need to know a lot of anatomy skills for that. And onto the shading, I'm just happy to be able to shade again. With Captor Sakura, I was able to shade just fine, but the previous ones before that, it was just like not a lot of shading. Dragon Ball Z, they used the, I don't know what's actually called, but the two-toned cell shading. So there's one cell shading that's lighter, can I speak, and one cell shading that is darker. Yes, and I really like that art style. It was really fun to do. I really just did a multiply layer for each of the colors, and then we called it good. Same thing, black line art. I get it. You want to save money whenever you're animating. I miss my colored line art. Can I color in my line art, please? I'm still not used to commentating, guys. I'm so sorry if this is such a rambly video. I'm also trying something new to just allow myself to ramble, to make it feel a little bit more like a podcast instead of like, oh, I'm going to talk about my art, like the video, and that's it. You know, I don't know. I just want to get to know you in these types of videos. I want it to actually feel like there's a bit of substance, and I don't know. I just want to talk to you like I would talk to a friend. You know what I mean? So if this video turns out okay, I might push out some more rambly videos. I honestly really like it too, because it feels a little bit like therapy, and I just get to talk without anybody judging me. Right? Okay, anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much it with Dragon Ball Z. I added a really fancy little filter. As you can tell, like the Steven Universe and Adventure Time, they didn't really have a background because I didn't think I would need one. But as time went on, the backgrounds just became so important to me to just bring in the character into the world. So I added, for Dragon Ball Z, I added a noise effect. I added a blending layer or 3 to make it feel more saturated, more technicolor. I wanted to add like a blur effect on the line art to make it feel like it's being looked at on a TV. I think it turned out okay. I think it looks very vintage. Can't believe I just called 90s vintage, but you know what? We're at that time in the world. And the next one is what? What is the next one? Oh, the next one's Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing was so fun, yet also so hard. I mentioned that some of these are really easy, some of these are really hard. And I'm really serious when it comes to getting these art styles right, because I think it's important for me to learn from these art styles, as well as just get out of my comfort zone, because if you're stuck in your comfort zone for too long, you're not going to learn anything. And I like learning, so I'm going to get uncomfy, you know what I mean? I had to make sure that this looked 3D. I wasn't going to go as far as downloading a 3D software and creating a 3D model of myself in Animal Crossing style. I'm not going to do that. But I was willing to, you know, go the extra mile and try and draw and make it look a little bit like 3D. I did try this one other time, which I'll give a little clip of. It didn't go in the direction I wanted it to, so I just started over. Hence why this was so hard. Like I mentioned, this was really difficult to do. Now I used to draw kind of in this art style, like a more painterly, lineless art style, but this one was a lot cleaner because I wanted it to look like it was actually in the game, right? Now obviously the pose isn't right, but I wanted it to look like, you know, the dressing room scene, whenever you're dressing up your character in your closet in your house at Animal Crossing. You know what I mean? I'll bring it up on the screen. They have like these poses. I didn't do the pose because I didn't realize that I wanted to put it in there until later, but you know what? It fits perfectly, even though the pose isn't something that's usually shown on that screen. Anyway, yeah, it was just a lot of back and forth, a lot of layers, and a lot of me second guessing myself, as per usual, because there's no line, there's no line art, you know, there's none at all whatsoever. And so I just had to just pray, you know what I mean? Hope for the best. And turns out I think it turned out okay. Just let me know in the comments if you think so. I had to do a lot of like layer editing and like tonal correction in order to make it look like it belonged on that screen, but you know what? It's just how it is. It's just how it is. Animal Crossing was the 2020 therapy for me. Just like a lot of other people, Animal Crossing did so well because of this, but I would just sit in, like with my husband, we were living at his uncle's at the time because, you know, 2020s, it took away our jobs were gone. We were homeless, so we were living at our uncle's. So what I would do to pass the time I would play Animal Crossing and Skyrim, but that's another story. But I would play Animal Crossing, and it was so fun. I got so into it to the point where I was, you know, I got the, whatever that website is, I'll bring it up on the screen. I can't remember the names of anything right now, but I would use that. I would go to people's worlds. I would trade because I wanted absolutely everything in the world. And then this was before, like the islands came out where you can just go to the island and get whatever you want and then go back home. Treasure Islands, I think is what it's called. So I was just over there at 2 in the morning, like all night. And my uncle, or well, my husband's uncle, he would go by and be like, you look busy. And I was so busy. I was doing important work. I was trading and earning so much gold, getting so many turnips, all of that. I really into it. I would really into it. It was actually really fun. Thinking back, I would never do that now. I don't have the time because I have a baby now, and now I'm married to the man. But yeah, I don't know. It was fun. My life is so much different now. But thinking back then, like you start out like homeless and, you know, living at your family's house, you know, couch to couch, because you lose your job, and then, you know, 5 years later you're a supervisor at your day job and you got 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. Things change a lot over such a short period of time. It's actually crazy. Thank you all so much for that, by the way. I don't really thank people very often because I don't know how to do it. It's really hard for me, but I do want to say thank you during this video because, like, what the heck? I can't believe we hit 200,000 subscribers. I was gonna do something special and then my break came up because I always take a break in August. I learned that lesson because August, the videos don't do as well. So I was like, okay, this is actually perfect. I'll take my vacation in August. But it turned out to be a longer vacation because I was having a lot of hard times. And good thing I did take the vacation because I got a concussion literally a day or two after I started my vacation. And then like the concussion. Oh, I should talk about that. I should talk about the concussion. Yeah, dude, that was wild. I don't know. I might save it for another video because it's a pretty long story. It was so weird. I didn't actually have to go to the doctor for it. I should have, because I did experience, you know, the nausea and the passing out and stuff afterwards, but I just couldn't be bothered. Please don't be like me. If you get a concussion, go to the doctor right away. I just didn't want the hassle of dealing with that. And I knew I was going to be fine because I wasn't, you know, like super bad. Anyway, so that was fun. But I hit like 200,000 subscribers like right after, because what is it, my redrawing my old art video was doing really well, and thank you all so much for that. That was absolutely amazing. Thank you all so much for the support on that one. I'll try and make more videos like that. But yeah, no, it was wild. I don't know what we were talking about. What were we talking about? This is what I get for rambling. Anyway, let's go on to the next piece. The next one. Guys, the next one is My Little Pony. I love My Little Pony so much. When I was like 15, 16 in high school, I was like sophomore year of high school, I was so obsessed with the My Little Pony show. Like, insanely obsessed. And it really was because it was just a breath of fresh air. Like, people can call me a brony all day long. I mean, technically I was still a kid. I don't really care if I get made fun of for this, but My Little Pony was a breath of fresh air in the sense that it was actually just so overwhelmingly positive in a healthy way, where the whole focus was on friendship. And I talked about this a little bit in Steven Universe. Steven Universe was also a breath of fresh air, but in a different way. It was more of like a therapeutic way. My Little Pony, just a breath of fresh air because everything is good. You know, like the villains aren't even that much of villains. You know what I mean? And the world is bright. Everyone is happy. And it's beautiful. You know, I would love to live in that world. You know, that would be an ideal world for someone like me. I'm done living in this current world, you know, like, but you know, we have to be here because we're here for a reason. But either way, I really liked it. It felt like home, because at that time I really needed some of that like stable happiness, just feeling safe kind of energy. And I think that's why so many people just latched onto the show, because of how amazing it was. Hi, buddy. Mommy's recording a video. Can you go somewhere else? Yes, I'm talking in the mic, and you can go downstairs. Anyway, little guy is mad because I wouldn't let him use my new mic. And if y'all know, in the beginning of the video, I did hint, he broke my old one. He broke my old mic. So I had to buy a new one, and this one, honestly, it was twice the amount of money, but it's like so echoey, and I don't understand how people can get this one to work. The one that I used was like $100, and it was so freaking solid. Like, little guy, he stole that thing so many times in the like 2 years, 1 year, maybe a year. I think it's been 2 years that I've had it, and it's just been holding up. The only thing that made it break was he threw it down the stairs, he unscrewed it, and took out all of the hardware. Yes, I have one of those kids. I love him very much. And if he sees this whenever he's older, I'm sorry, but yes, you were a very ornery child when you were 4. So My Little Pony, basically, it's just, you know, it was just a comfy show. And whenever I redrew it, I had to think about it very carefully. I looked at a lot of different ponies. I thought about each hairstyle. I kind of, and I see this happen a lot with 10 styles challenges. This was something that I wanted to avoid. A lot of people like puzzle piece already existing characters and aspects of characters together to make their own, and I didn't want to do that in any of these pieces. I wanted it to feel like it belonged in the world, and it wasn't just like a puzzle Frankenstein mix match of things to make up a new character, because you can tell, you know, you can tell that whenever somebody does that, and it's just, for me, it's just, it doesn't work for me. I don't know. I'm really picky with that. So I did do a little bit of mix matching with this one. That was my point. My point is I'm a little bit of a hypocrite. So I took some of the like bangs from this one, which I don't remember the names of this. So I'm just going to say this one, and editing Athalie is going to put it... It's gonna put it in the right spot. I added, you know, my stars, my little star earrings, and my little buns. Now the buns, brand new thing, you know, I drew that, but I did get the bangs from that person there. I did make myself a unicorn because I'm more of like a magic-y person than a fly person. I don't know. I usually think of like the Pegasus being more athletic, the earth ponies, as in nothing on them, being more hardworking, and the unicorns being more intellectually strong, which I'm not a very good example of, but I usually think about myself being a little bit smart sometimes. Maybe I'm just lying to myself to make me feel better. But I gave that to me. I don't know. It's just something that I've always thought about with the rest. You know, I've been recording for a very long time. See, this is what you get from Athalie that rambles instead of the fully cut out other videos that I get. So I really, really, really hope you like it. Anyway, so I feel like I did okay with the background. Everything was very clear, like cookie cutter, straight lines, solid colors, things like that. It was very easy to draw. So it didn't take too long, but I did enjoy it because I do love the My Little Pony art style, and drawing myself as a pony brought back a lot of memories, and it made me very nostalgic and happy. So yeah, that is the My Little Pony thingy. So there's only 2 more. This one right here, this is Stardew Valley. Now Stardew Valley, I did do a lot of, I don't know if it's tracing, but I grabbed like the basic shape. So I made a character in Stardew Valley, right? And then I took a screenshot and I put it into Clip Studio. And because I don't know how to do, you know, pixel art in Clip Studio without like lowering the resolution down to like the size of the pixels that I want them to be, and I didn't want that, so I used this weird grid that I found on Google. I turned it transparent and I just filled it in with like the refer multiple bucket tool, and eventually I got it to look kind of okay. But yeah, it's really straightforward for the Stardew Valley one. Now this one was gonna be murder drones. I was going to do like a draw in the art style for murder drones, but I decided not to because I personally I liked murder drones. It just reminded me of my angsty teen days, but it's not something that I really condone for the channel like at all, because it's of how gory it is, and it's just, I don't think it's a healthy show to watch. That's just my opinion. Feel free to watch it if you want to, but I just don't want to represent that kind of thing on my channel. So I decided to go with Stardew Valley instead because it's a lot more chill, it's a lot more relaxed, and less gory. So that's what I went and decided to do Stardew Valley. It was very difficult though, because I felt like, oh man, this whole time they're gonna yell at me because I'm quote unquote tracing, you know what I mean? But in reality, I was just trying to figure out how to get it all to work, because I don't know, maybe I could have one video where I'm just focusing on learning how pixel art works, that would be really cool. But for now, this is just what I got. And I think it turned out okay. I changed up the background, you know, I made her look like she was walking a little bit more, which I don't know how good that looks, but I also added the little bun with the star, like just the grass background and stuff from the character creation screen. But yeah, that's pretty much it on Stardew Valley. And last but not least, now this one was the one I hinted at in the beginning of the video, and the one that you probably saw as a thumbnail. I'm sorry I left it till last. It just literally was the last piece that I did. Now this one is realism, mainly because I couldn't think of any other anime or manga or cartoon to redraw. But in reality, I did want to see like what my character would look like as a real person, which is actually really cool. I don't know. I was really excited to do it. I didn't like doing it at the time because it was so extremely difficult. And keep in mind, I haven't drawn realism, like intended realism, since high school, freshman year of high school. And I was 15. That was well over 10 years ago. Yeah, it's been a while since I've drawn in realism, which is actually crazy. So I wanted to start out right. I wanted to have a proper reference. And so I went to Pinterest. I found some model faces, different hairstyles, things like that. And what I did is I used the handy dandy liquify tool in Clip Studio to make the face shape accurate to what my model would look like, as if it were in real life. Instead of just taking from the model straight up that I got as a reference, I just you know, morphed her face to make it look more like my character. And then I put on the bangs, and it looks like a really weird, like cutout magazine type of piece. It actually looks really cool. The reference itself looks really cool. But that's basically what I did. I wanted the reference to actually look like my character, you know what I mean? And nobody in the real world is going to look like my character in real life. So that's what I did. Anyway, so I did start in like black and white. I was like, okay, so people who draw realism, they usually start in black and white and then they turn it into color later. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. I ended up regretting it a little bit at the end when I was adding the color, because I'm actually very, very amateur when it comes to black and white to color kinds of pieces. And I didn't like the gradient maps. Anyway, I'm getting too ahead of myself. So the black and white version, I started out very simple. Now, at first, I wanted to do it like I would any other piece. And then I found out really quickly that create that like realism, at least for the way that it works in my brain, is like sculpting. So I would start with like a base color, and then I would sculpt in the shadows. So I would draw in the dark lines and dark splotches and the light splotches, and eventually it would start turning into an actual face. But this really did take quite a long time for me. Like compared to other pieces, like with my own art style, it usually takes me around 2 to 4 hours to finish a piece. Normally with this one, it took me like maybe 12 hours. I might be exaggerating a bit. I'll have to look at the recording and stuff like that. And it was actually very therapeutic at the same time too, because I didn't have to worry about the color at the same time as like creating the form and shaping the face and things like that, adding texture. So it was actually a lot less scary than I thought it would be, surprisingly, especially with the fact that I had a reference to help me along the way. So if you want to do like realism and stuff, I don't know anything about realism, to be honest with you. I just know how to draw what I see, so I just made a reference. And if you want to do that too, when you're starting out with realism, just make a reference. You know, don't be afraid to liquefy it too, because that's what worked for me. It was actually really cool. I think she's super pretty, and I think she turned out really well. I really do. And this is just someone who's completely inexperienced with realism. Honestly, I'm just glad I still got it, you know, because it's been so long since I've drawn something realistically. It's kind of like one of those situations where when you're an artist, and if you're an artist, you understand, and you draw something new, and all of a sudden you draw it really, really well. It's like that situation where you think, I didn't know I had the superpower, basically. It feels kind of ironic because I've been drawing like all these cute little anime characters for like 2 or 3 years, and then I can draw this, which just for me is amazing. But it also shows that realism isn't really that hard. It's really just drawing what you see, and drawing what you see is a skill in itself. But once you figure out how to draw what you can see accurately, you can literally draw anything. And that's something that I credit my my drawing 1 instructor in college for teaching me. Like she didn't back down either, because I was a little emotional piece of doo-doo. But yeah, this is basically the whole piece. Like The coloring itself took a really long time to do. You might see me like go all over the place with the coloring because I was trying to figure out the best way to do it. I tried gradient maps, I tried multiple gradient maps on top of each other and just cutting out where the hair is, the skin is. The fastest thing that I could find was literally turning the black and white into a multiply layer and then coloring underneath that layer with the colors that I needed. The only thing that was really hard is that it still has that kind of gray undertone to it, like you can kind of see the gray, but I really think that was just me messing up on the value, because whenever you're coloring in these kinds of pieces, if you use too light of a color that doesn't match the value of the black and white, it'll look gray. Honestly, at the end of the day, when it comes to my skill level, I think this turned out amazing. Go ahead and drop in the comments what your favorite art piece was from your favorite series. If you want to do this challenge with me, go ahead and let me know what your favorite anime or manga or cartoon, whatever video game that you want on your own character. I would really love to see that. But yeah, like usual, I usually ask this at the end of the video because if you stuck around this long, it means you like it. Go ahead and click that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. Now that we're at 200,000 subs, we should start working on 300,000. I don't know. My main goal was 100 and now I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, I do hope you have a great rest of your day, morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at. I love you very much. Bye-bye.